Wait, are you?
Coming
Oh, wait.
at you live, coming at you live. This is the one and only Season Over Fire Everyone sports show with a special midweek or Thursday edition. I'm sorry, Thursday edition. I'm your boy Skillz. Down below me is Sir Slorebag. What up? And to my, well, I guess on the screen, I guess it'd be on the left side, would be OG. All in the house tonight. And we got a lot to dive into. The Golden State Warriors riding a little bit of a hot streak again. 3 out of 4 since the All-Star game. Make that 4 out of 5 now since the All-Star game with this win tonight over the New York Knicks, the host New York Knicks, at the Madison Square Garden, where Stephen Curry once had one of the probably I would say this was the breakout game of his career when he had that 50-pointer in Madison Square Garden back in I want to say 2013, 2012, 2013. I meant to look that up. There was not quite a performance like that tonight, just a balanced all-around performance by the Dubs, who got off to a 14-0 start. Yes, they led the Knicks 14-0 at one point. The Knicks went over, 5 minutes without making a single point. And they did finally get on the board, but that 14-point deficit proved to be too much for them to overcome as they eventually fell 110-99, a rare sub-100 opponent for not just the Warriors, but for anyone in the NBA this year. And this is like, what, 2 out of 4 now the Warriors have held under 100 when you go back to the Charlotte Hornets game. We are going to cover that. We're going to cover some stories we didn't get into on our last show. We have a couple NFL stories to get into, a couple MLB stories I want to bring to your attention. But first of all, let's get to, we're in the San Francisco Bay Area, so we're going to get into the Warriors first. They're, like I said, playing well right now. We had Stephen Curry finished with, I want to say it was 31 points tonight. Where's my little numbers here? List numbers.
He had 31 points today. Jonathan Kuminga had about 25. Overall, the starting five, they have like two startings in terms of their lineup, and it's a well balanced in terms of what they have. The
And
only
Moses Moody
compliment I'm
was
gonna
one
give
of those
Kerr right now.
starters.
That's right. Second, due to the fact that Wiggins is out indefinitely.
Again, with more personal issues, and we don't want to say, we can easily be those guys to say, oh, here we go again, Andrew. What was it this time? Did your favorite soap opera get canceled? We're not going to be those guys. We're not going to be those guys, and we're not going to dare speculate on what's wrong, what's going on, because for all we know, it could be something really serious, or it could be the example I just gave you. With Wiggins, you never know. And I got a funny quote about Wiggins here to share with you guys later on if we have time, from the 95-7 game Willard and Dib show. But getting back to who did play tonight, Moses Moody with a good game on both ends. He had the defense, block shots. He was blocking shots. He made a couple of steals. Him and Kuminga worked well in transition. Kuminga, as you said, OG, 25 points tonight. And I'll start with you, Sir Slorebag. What were your takeaways from, number one, this particular starting lineup, and number two, the Warriors' ability to get a big lead, or at least a double-digit lead, and not cough the whole thing up?
They tried, but they always try. I would just say, like, I think, and not just the starting, but like, I like Moses Moody in the starting lineup. Like, look at this. We have Moody and Kuminga in the starting lineup, like it should have been the whole season, and they're producing. And like I said in my text thread earlier, I actually think, because unfortunately, like, Wiggins is out, and he was actually starting to play better. And like, it's unfortunate he's out, but I think when Wiggins is back, instead of Pods, you put in Moody in there, I think he could do everything that Pods can do, but with better defense. And I think that'd be a great starting line. So I'm excited that Moses Moody is finally getting a chance. I don't know why he was buried way, way, way down on the depth chart.
Buried.
Like, every time he has a chance, he produces. I mean, Kuminga finally got a chance, and now he's the starter, so maybe this is finally a turning point. But I still don't trust Kerr, because he's a dumbass and does dumbass things and has dumbass rotations. But I swear to God, if Moses Moody disappears again this season, I am personally gonna go down to Chase Center and I'm gonna freaking challenge Steve Kerr to a fight, and you can quote me on that.
Meet you at Nations with some knee brace.
I'll be like, Steve Kerr, here's some knee braces. Meet me at Nations. Let's go. I'm done. I'm tired of it.
I call hostage.
Yeah, and so
Inside joke, audience. That's an inside joke between the three of us and our friendship circle. I won't even bore you with the details, but
yeah.
continue on, Sir Slorebag.
And then sorry, what was the second part of the question? I can't remember. But
The second part of the question, what were your thoughts on the Warriors' inability or ability to actually not cough up a double-digit lead?
well, I think that has to do a lot with the second unit now with CP3
Yep.
back. Like, and I will give Clay his dues, man. He was clank, but he's actually playing pretty good off the bench. So like, it's him and CP3 and TJD and whoever else out there. They're a good combo. And so if we can have these lineups there, we can do dangerous things. We can go far in the playoffs.
Okay, OG. My question for you, I want to ask about Chris Paul, who's been back now for a few games. Your thoughts on Chris Paul's performance and what he brings to this second unit that it was missing while he was gone, and would it be such a wild and crazy idea to hold on to him for the rest of the season if so moved to by if you're the Golden State Warriors?
If I am Golden State, I would hold on to Chris Paul the entire season. One thing he brings is experience and leadership, and that's something that they're lacking with the second unit. He has good rapport and good chemistry with Sark, and with him kind of leading the way for that second unit, it kind of frees up everybody in terms of trying to distribute and be the ball handler. And that's what they're lacking. Because if you look at their starting lineup, you have Curry, but Draymond is your literally your point guard is your Draymond Green. So he's kind of your Draymond Green in terms of that second unit. And he doesn't just bring the ball over. He makes sure that he literally eliminates a lot of the turnover that they do. And I think with that, with Clay being part of that second unit, they have a shooter. Sark is still a spot up. He's good at the pick and roll piece. I think TJD is a good second unit big man in terms of that lineup, because when Clay is kind of getting the double team and he's like your pick and pop alley oop type of player that you're gonna need to open that up when the shots are not falling in. So for me, that starting second lineup that they have with Chris Paul, Sarek, Klay Thompson, and then TJD is great. And then I would, if it was me, I would put Wiggins with that five. Loons will be the third center just in case Green or someone from that first or second unit gets into foul trouble. He'll be my third option. But I would leave Moody, Podziemski, and then Kuminga and Green and Curry as the starting five, because Moody can guard the point guards like what he did today with Brunson, which is something that it's great because him, Moody, and Podziemski, what they bring to you is that hustle play. They dive for the ball. They do the little dirty stuff that the old guys can't do no more, like Curry and so forth. He doesn't dive for the ball. So that's like a mix of your young and old. So and you notice like he has a good rapport with Kuminga as well. There was a play in the end where they kind of pass it to each other, and then Kuminga got a dunk out of it. So
Yeah, I think it's the and one play they had the third quarter came off Moody block on
Yep.
I don't remember if it was Brunson or not, but he blocked someone on the Knicks, and Kuminga missed the free throw, so it wasn't an and one, but it was still a great play.
Right. So I think this lineup as it stands right now is good, and you kind of trickle in and you mix in Garrett Payton now and then.
And Gary Payton, what I always thought that he brought to the team, in addition to the defense and the ability to hit a three out of the corner, him out there allows Steve Kerr to milk those minutes that Curry has to rest. How many times have we seen in the last like 2-3 years since the departure of Sean Livingston, where Curry had to rush back into a game in the second quarter before he's fully rested? And I'm surprised it actually didn't have more effect on wearing him down. He's only had, he hasn't had too many more of the ankle injuries, thankfully. But this allows Curry to get full rest, which, of course, obviously on paper will, supposedly make him more effective, right? His shot is going to be more effective. Most importantly, his defense is going to be more effective because his legs are going to be fresher. Peyton gives that to
Right.
you. So Peyton, by being healthy and on the roster, is actually improving your defense in two spots and
Hmm.
extending the availability of your best player. So
Right.
kudos to Gary Payton for coming back. Great job getting James Wiseman out of here and to get Gary Payton back in the Bay Area.
And Jordan Poole out of there. He was horrible. Their last game, he was horrible.
Oh
And
man,
he was doing the same stuff. He was turning it over left and right. So
Yeah. But I
it's
mean, everybody's talking about like, oh, when CP3 comes back, how they're gonna play, what's their pace gonna do? Like, but I think CP3 has adapted well. Like he can
mhm.
slow it down, he can, increase the pace. And like you
Right.
said, he can give Curry minutes, not just Payne, but
Yep.
CP3 because you trust CP3 with the ball and he can run any offense. So
Yep.
he
And
was a good pickup.
it's solid minutes too. And he gives you that
Yeah.
mid range game that you're lacking when everyone's trying to shoot all those 3-pointers. So
Yep. And then I don't know if I know, but like his shot looks better now after the
hmm
after he broke it. So I don't know if he
yeah.
upgraded his hand somehow, but like his three ball looks good, and his mid range is always gonna be there, but the three ball looks even better than before.
and Chris
Right.
Paul got
And
off
they're
to a
like
good
wide
start.
open.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
he's really picked it up for the season. Now he's up to 37%. And
Yeah.
when I said earlier, maybe I didn't use the proper words. And when I said should the Warriors hold on to Chris Paul, I guess what I should have how I should have phrased that was should the Warriors continue to give Chris Paul meaningful minutes, whether or not they
Oh
fall
yeah.
out of contention. I guess that's what I should have said since the trade deadline is long since passed. But because there was talk about Chris Paul was injured. There was talk of, well, maybe the Warriors will just eat his contract, give his minutes to Quinones or Santos or somebody. There was talk of
no.
it. I never really gave it much credence because
Yeah.
it's a Hall of Famer Chris Paul, and you're still trying to win a championship. And if you want to win that championship, you're going to need somebody like Paul. Nothing
Hmm.
taking nothing away from LQ, but he's not going to take you there. Chris Paul could.
No, no, you can't trust a rookie who's never been there when you need him for those crunch times within that 1 minute range
Yeah,
where you're down by two or you're up by two. Chris Paul is a vet. He knows what to do in those situations. He knows how to bait people to get in the foul and go to the line. And that's something the Warriors are lacking because once you get around that 1 minute mark and you have, let's say, Curry, you have Clay, you have Draymond who doesn't score. Clay and Curry are just, they're going to shoot for that three. Like he gives you that solid mid range, you know it's going to go in kind of play. So for me, you have to play Chris Paul as long as he doesn't get injured.
yeah.
Yeah, the New York Knicks, as I said, fell behind 14-0. As Sarah Slorebag
Mhm.
alluded to, they got within four in the second half, but never could completely get over the hump. Warriors went on another run to put it away. Curry knocked down his first, I believe, 3 out of 4 threes in this game, and
Yep.
Thompson off the bench with 16 points. He did not have his best shooting night. He was a minus 13, but those stats, the minus plus minus is only I don't know how much weight I put in that stat because it's it's so much variables on that stat. Because at the same time, while he was a plus 16, you have Pods who shot terribly, but was a plus, what was it, 23 or something like that, I wrote down. So, and I want to get into Pods a little bit, guys. Before I do, and I believe it was that you, Sir Sloreback, who mentioned Pods should be, in your opinion, a starter going forward?
No, so what I've noticed from Pods is he's really good and has a hustle, but yeah, his shooting has been struggling lately. And it
Yes.
continues. So I don't know if he's hitting a rookie wall. I get it, right? He's done a lot of great things, but also from his defense, he hustles, but like his defense can be lacking sometimes. But I would just be curious to see him with the second unit too instead of the starters. But I mean, I know he's gonna be great though. Like, right, this is his first year, but it seems like he may hit
Yep.
be in terms of shooting, he's hit a wall. Hopefully, he can break through. But that's something I've noticed since like the All Star break, or maybe before.
He has so much energy, OG, and he
Right.
does things that no one else on the team,
Yep.
the deflection here, staying in front of guys, which it's stuff you can't really measure, but you notice it if you're on the floor. And the Warriors have mostly won since he's been a part of that lineup.
Yep. And
Yep.
what I've noticed with him is he gives you the hustle play. He gives you the second chances. He rebounds, and he's smart about it too. He can pass. He knows where he needs to be, and he those. How many charges has he taken? Like literally this entire season.
He leads
He
the
Like
led the
league.
league at one point.
How many rookies have you seen do that? Like literally, how many you have? None. And
Not on
that's
purpose.
very rare. Those qualities of knowing where to be, knowing how to position yourself, those are really, really unique qualities as a basketball player because not everybody can do that. Not everybody knows that when the ball is shot, that you don't just stand there and look at it. You know, he's
Hmm.
constantly moving. There was one play where he ran, he basically got the deflection. Curry got the ball. He ran all the way back, like the first one there to facilitate the fast break. Like who does that? And that's what I see. The shooting, it'll come, as you play. That requires experience. But the little things he does, especially for a team that has a bunch of shooters, it's a very, very unique quality in terms of what you have. Because think about it. The way he plays his defense, the way he hustles is basically having another, like, you can say a little bit downgraded GP2. You have two of those.
Right.
And then the way they're hustling, that's what they needed. Because when you had Clay and you had Curry starting, they weren't hustling for the ball. Nobody was going for second chance shots because they were shooting threes. And this guy's doing the dirty work. So for me, it's great. And he has a really, really good floor vision because there was this one play he saw Draymond cutting to the hole. He sees little things that are important in terms of a growth as an NBA player, knowing the fact that at his current rookie year, he can already do that. And he's just going to get better.
Plus, he's got poise. His
That's right.
interviews, I love his interviews. He speaks like somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's been in the league five,
Yep.
10 years. And I,
Yep.
I like the diversity, but I want to throw out some numbers at you and tell me uh, what you think. But obviously, well, I'm gonna know. I know what you already. I'm gonna know what you think. But these numbers, his shooting, if you throw out his February 14th game against the Clippers, since February 7th, Pods is only shooting 34 out of 97, which is right around 35% from the floor. That's not from three. That's from the
Mm-hmm.
floor overall.
Hmm.
But his assist to turnover ratio, and this is just going back to the February 15th, it's been about five, 6 games, 27 assists and just 8 turnovers. And so this is a guy who, while he may not be lighting up the basket, he's protecting the ball, he's making plays, and he's doing it as a rookie who's only going to get better, like you said, OG with his shot.
Mm-hmm.
And while I would prefer, because I've long been a fan and an advocate of Moses Moody, I prefer to see him get a shot after 3 years on his team. But if Moody's not going to be around next year, or if they decide they want to move on from him for whatever reason, then I'm okay with giving Brandon a shot. No pun intended. But he's got to get his field goal shooting a little bit higher than what it is right now, and I think he will eventually.
Hmm.
But let's put it into context though. Just today's game, he had 0 points until the fourth quarter. He was plus 17 with no points.
That's
Just
my
think
point.
about that.
No pun intended.
Just saying. The Warriors are not looking for a scorer with that first unit. What they're looking for is someone who can solidify the defense and do the little things so that they get the second chance opportunity to score again. That's what makes Draymond great, right? It's
Hmm.
not because Draymond is going to shoot threes and score all the time. Is that he plays the defense and he can facilitate that offense when it's running. And for me, with the emergence of Jonathan Kuminga, right, who's a 20-plus scorer when he's starting and he's getting the ball, I think it Pods balances that piece out. And if you put him on the second unit with Chris Paul and Sarek and Clay, he's going to get lost in the shuffle in terms of that and the way he plays
Right.
because Paul slows down the offense and
He's not. He's not.
Pods
He's not a speed.
runs a
He's not a
lot,
burner. He never was.
right? So
He's just a
I,
guy.
I, I
He's
like
just
him
a guy
as
who
a
gets his
starter.
spots.
And for whatever reason, as much as I like Moody and I like how he plays, he's in Kerr's doghouse for some reason. No matter how good he's going to play now, chances are when Wiggins comes back, he's going to be right back in the bench, and he's
Yeah, I
out
mean,
of
how many
rotation.
guys go
And then
from being
I will be fighting Steve Kerr at Nations. So,
Then you better set the date.
yeah, because that's what I'm afraid because it's more likely that put he would put knock down friggin' Pods than
Yeah.
friggin' Wiggins because we know Kerr loves Wiggins no matter
loves
how
him?
much time he misses.
Yep.
So I guess I'm just afraid that Moody's gonna get lost in the shuffle again.
He
and
will.
that's gonna suck.
That's the
And
problem.
Moody had come back from the injury, and he was collecting those DNP, CD, did not play coach's decisions. He was piling those up, and now the next thing you know, within like a 2-game turnaround, he's in the starting lineup. And
Yeah.
It's just
It makes no sense, right?
like you're not good enough to be my 10th or 11th man off the bench, but now you're good enough to be a starter with these 3 Hall of Famers. Like it's
Right.
that's what doesn't make sense.
Has Kurt ever made sense? Really, his rotations don't make no sense.
Like, think
He
about
can't
if he
figure
had
it
been in
out
the
for the last
rotation.
10 years. So,
And I
Hey,
think
why
that's what
stop there?
frustrates me is like all these close games that they were losing, and especially in the before the All-Star break, like Moody could have made a difference. Like, like because he can shoot the ball and he plays good defense. And it's like, and even when Camilo was in the doghouse, like, it's just so frustrating. Warriors could easily be way higher in the standings, if Kerr hadn't been so out
they're in
of
a
problem.
short leash. All the
Yeah.
rookies and all the people he doesn't trust, that's not part of the starting five, short leash.
And look
And he
what's
said it.
happening
He
now.
said it. Yeah.
Now they're flourishing.
Yep.
Like,
No,
Kaminga's playing way better than I ever. Like,
Yep.
I didn't think he'd play this good this year. Like,
and
what?
It's
Kevon Looney had 2 for 2 field goals tonight. Next game, start Looney at shooting guard. See how he
you,
does.
you know what it is, right? Why he started Moody? Because he
What?
got
Well,
2 year. He got 2 years and $35 million.
he's
So
free now to do. He has free reign to
he
do
has
anything he
to care,
wants.
right? He has to care again.
Well,
Before he
I
didn't care.
personally, I personally don't care why he's doing it. I've just been waiting because I've long said you guys have probably gotten sick of hearing me beat this drum, but Moses Moody deserves to play at least 15 to 20 minutes a night, and I'm not even really concerned with his shooting as long as he doesn't pull a Looney and start shooting like that guy. But as long as if he's going to put up, he's not going to shoot any worse than Brandon. Let's put it that way. And that's not knocking down Brandon Pods. I'm just saying, how many truly bad games when he's got an extensive run? How many truly bad games has Moses Moody had? I can't really think of
Well,
any off the top of my head, like truly
no,
bad games.
all right. So, how do you classify Moody? Do you classify him as a guard or a forward?
I classify him as a both. He can play either. He can
Well,
play either spot.
so
Well,
then
he
who do
started
you?
at the 3 now.
Right now, think about how many people they have. The original starting lineup is Curry, Clay, Draymond Green, Wiggs, and Loons. Who's coming off the bench? GP2,
Yeah,
Chris Paul, Saric, who's a center,
yeah.
sorta, right? And then who else? Like, where do you put
Well,
him?
now lately Quinones.
No, before that, before
But before
Quinones
that,
was there, before all
No.
that. Like,
okay.
where do you put him though? Where do you slot Moody in terms of the rotation?
Well,
That's why he always falls out.
here's
And
the
then
thing. He wasn't even
Kuminga,
getting minutes in garbage time.
I get that. And then there's Kuminga, who wasn't starting at the time. That's your 9 players. Now, if you do a rotation past 10, it's hard to find minutes because then you're going to have to pull one of those 10 people that's on your rotation right now out of that rotation, take minutes away from them if you're the 11th person.
Well, my issue was inevitably someone on the Warriors is going to get in foul trouble, is going to get hurt. And what is our big problem with Kerr is that his lineups he's always mixing and matching the lineups. Well, why couldn't there ever be a lineup with Moses? That was my issue. And why didn't he get enough of a shot like other guys got? Why is he in the game or why is he riding the bench when someone like Quinones, who is totally unproven and should never play unless it's garbage time, at least
Right.
Yeah.
before we saw what he could do, that is. And
Like,
Right.
Quinones was playing more than Moody
Yep, he
until
was.
Wiggins decided to disappear. It makes no sense. And like, we know that Kerr likes small ball, so like it doesn't matter. Like, freaking give him Looney minutes because like Looney has fallen off a cliff. So like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have freaking Moody out there and give him Looney minutes.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
definitely
so
in
it's like,
terms of it.
but yet Kerr keeps playing Looney. Like, even if it's
Yeah.
just a little bit, like he should be like way down on the rotation. It's like he should be where Moody has been most of the year in terms of like we only see him every now and then.
Right. But if you think about it, a lot of that is Kerr and his assistant coaches. They make
Yeah.
those decisions before the game start. So somewhere along the line, he's falling off the radar for whatever reason it is. They don't trust him. And even if
Yeah.
he's playing well, which we know he has games where he played well and Kerr pulled him out, I don't know what the problem is, to be honest with you.
I know what the problem is, OG, and it's Slorebag. I think I finally figured it out. Moses
No.
Moody has BO. Moses Moody,
You think
he's
what it
just
is?
stinky. There's no
But
other
then,
reason why. Because he gets
but
on the, he gets, and everyone's just,
but
they can't take it.
but wouldn't you want him on the court instead of on the bench? Because then he'll be farther away from you, right?
That's true.
This is the season over fire everyone sports show. We got OG, we got Surf Slorebag. Let's move on.
Actually,
Couple
Skill,
issues.
hold on. That's why we're doing these shows Zoom now, because and I talked about it, and your BO is too much.
It's the BO.
So we didn't want to be mean about it, but we might as well tell the truth. So
Oh well, hey, that's I'm gonna start bathing less.
that possible?
Here we go. Here we go. Okay. We want to bring this issue up is the latest one of the latest trends, for lack of a better term, in the NBA is guys getting upset when their opponents shoot the ball late in the game and they're ahead already by however many points and the game's already out of reach. We had at least two instances I can remember off the top of my head last week. One with the Golden State Warriors and the Hornets when Lester Quinones apparently ticked off Grant Williams of the Hornets. So I think he's just mad because he's on the Hornets and not the Celtics anymore. And then we also had an instance of it with the Timberwolves and the Nets when Mike Conley, who no one ever has an issue with Mike Conley, but he shot and made a shot late in the shot clock late in the game that apparently ticked off Dennis Schroeder, who also I think is just mad because he turned down all those millions a couple years ago and had to settle for barely over the minimum, but that's another story.
Dumbass.
Sir Slorebag, we'll start with you. Is this one of the dumbest unwritten rules? Is this unwritten rule dumb to you? Should it just be like when do you stop playing in a basketball game?
I mean, it's like if I get like in the Warriors case, there was more time than there was on the shot clock, right? So
Right.
like,
Right.
why were you just gonna stand there? I mean, you could, but this is basketball, right? These usually, if you're up ahead by a lot, that means people that don't usually get a lot of minutes are on the floor. So of course they're gonna want to shoot, right? They're trying to prove themselves. So like, it's not like you have your starters out there. Like that's different. Like, but these guys are just trying to shoot. And if I get it, if there's less time on the game than the shot clock, then you don't shoot it. But if there's more, you shoot it. And so
OG,
either
your
way, it's
thoughts?
not a big deal. Like, who cares?
Right.
Your thoughts, OG?
It's all ego, and I do agree if it's like 24 seconds left and you're just trying to kill the clock, and then the buzzer is going to end and there's no turnover. I truly feel you should hold the ball. But if there's more than that, and you're not like trying to showboat the other team, or you're trying to throw a lob to yourself and dunk it, or trying to get pad your stats. I mean, that's happened before. Then to me, it's okay. I mean, it's not their fault that you guys couldn't score and make it a close game, right?
Mhm.
So I truly feel you shouldn't be mad about it. But for some reason, everyone's all pissed off that they want to score even though they're up by 20 and there's 24 seconds left or more than that. I mean, it makes no sense. It's childish to me. Like when we play pickup game, right? And you're going to 16, no one's gonna say, well, you're up by 8. What are you doing trying to score still? And stuff. Right? I
It's
mean,
fun.
I
I mean,
just I just truly feel silly. It's
It
really
shouldn't even be a
silly.
thing. It's just dumb. So,
Yeah.
does it
but I
feel
think
any
you're right.
better to
It was
lose by
both by players
18
that
than
are
it does
just.
20?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, does it feel any worse or better to lose by 18 as opposed to 20?
No.
No.
Look, you
A loss
lost.
is a loss.
A big loss is a big loss.
Right.
2 or 3 more points is not going to matter. So,
Yeah.
like, it's different if like you're up by a lot and you have your starters there and you're like running all these plays, like,
Yeah.
right? Come on, man. But if it's like you're not freaking screening people to give Curry more shots. So.
I can see someone getting upset with that, but you're literally Conley. You're just standing in the corner dribbling, waiting for the shot clock to expire, and then you heave it up there, and it happens to land in the basket. You're obviously not trying to rub it in. You're trying to avoid a turnover stat. But do either one of you guys remember a few years ago? Well, not a few, but probably like in the '90s and in the O's, Ricky Davis and Anthony Bowie both tried to late in the game get triple doubles for themselves by missing
Mm-hmm.
shots, getting the rebounds on purpose, and they got knocked
Yep.
into the seats for that.
Yep. Yep. I think I saw that game where he kind of tossed it so that he'll get the extra rebound. And that's
Yep.
when he was with Cleveland, right?
Yeah,
Was it Cleveland?
Ricky
Yep.
Davis.
Yep.
and he got flagrantly fouled as a reward for that. This is the season over fire everyone's sports show. Your boy Skillz, your boy OG to my left, your boy Slorebag down below. I think it's time now to get into our weekly segments, and I think we'll start with the Slorebag of the week. Who do you got, my friend?
This was a tough choice, but you know what? I'm gonna let my friend Rio take over. Can you see that? Wait, why is he fuzzy? Hey, my name is Rio, and even in Brazil, way down south, we know that Kyle Shanahan sucks, and he should be fired. And you know what? I know Kyle Shanahan has been a slow rag of the week before, but I'm still mad about the Super Bowl, and I'm tired of the bull. His offense sucks. Let me just say that his offense can't beat man defense. That's why the Niners lost to the Browns, the Bengals, freaking the Ravens, and that's why they lost to the Super Bowl. So Kyle Shanahan, everybody says he's an offensive genius, but his offense sucks against man defense, and he can never beat it. And that's why he will never win a Super Bowl.
I didn't know Brazilian birds knew much about NFL offenses.
Never knew they
Hey,
paid
you know
attention
what?
to it.
Like, that's how bad he is. Even in Brazil, they be knowing, man. I don't, it's just, I guess I'm just still bitter. I know it's been several weeks, but I'll never get over it. And I'm still mad.
There was a part of me that was good that wanted to ask you if you were going to pick Shanahan again, even though part of me also knew the answer in advance.
Yeah.
So I decided I was going to say anything. I just wanted to see where you were going to go, and I was right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's still there, and I know it's an unpopular opinion because everyone's like, "Oh, he's so good on offense." Blah 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 blah. Don't you like going to NFC Championship games? No, I like to win Super Bowls, and Shanahan is not going to win a Super Bowl.
There was a commentary from the defensive coordinator of who was it? Not the Chiefs, but some other who had very strong words against Kyle Shanahan in an interview, radio interview.
Yeah, he wasn't DC. He was a coach on the Chiefs.
Okay.
He interviewed for the DC job with the Niners, but he said the same thing. It's like the offense is the one that failed that game, and it's when they went, when the Chiefs switched the man defense, it shut down the offense, and they couldn't do crap.
So once again, for at least the fourth time in our history, Kyle Shanahan, of the head coach of the 49ers, is Sir Slorebag of the week. And I can't say I'm surprised about that at all. Geez, let's go to you next. Who do you have? Who cashed in this week? Who is your big baller of the week?
I'm not gonna say it's this week. It happened around January. Spoelstra for the Miami Heat, their head coach. Cashed in 120 for 8 years, put him at what, 15 million a year. He was second highest paid as a coach during that time frame. Unfortunately, Steve Kerr's dumbass gets 35 for 2. That puts him as the number 1 most paid head coach in the league. Unacceptable.
And what's interesting about that, and this was also, and I'm glad you brought that up, OG, because the Miami Heat, it was reported that by different outlets that they specifically waited for Coach Spo's divorce to go through before giving him this contract. That because they wanted everything that they wanted to reward him with to go to him and well, obviously his children too, but basically they didn't want an ex trying to claim any of his money, his newfound winnings. And I thought that was pretty noble of the Heat, looking out for their 14-year head coach, who's taken him now to 7 NBA finals, or 6 NBA finals, 1, 2, and has him in contention pretty much every year. Under him, that the Heat franchise is no longer just your run-of-the-mill expansion team just holding on like Hornets. They're in it every year, and I personally think he's worth it. What do you think, Sir Slorebag?
Oh man, I didn't know that part. I mean, I think that's hilarious and awesome. Kudos to the Heat for doing that, because he should be rewarded. Although, at some point, like, can he really win another championship? Right? Like, right? He won it with LeBron, and I agree he's a great coach. But it's like, can he get that other chip without, LeBron? So it'll be interesting. But I mean, 8 years. I guess he's there for a while. But No, we've
Yeah.
seen coaches fired, with plenty of
Oh
years
yeah.
left on their contract. So, but for now, I think he's always done a good job, and he are good. I don't know if they're good enough to be champions, but they're always interesting. They're always in it.
And OG, you said that was 8 years, 120 million, was it?
8 years, 120.
So he'll
That's a
be
long
there.
time. I
That's a,
don't damn.
He's gonna be there for a while,
well,
unless he does something wrong.
I know you can take solace in the fact, especially that at least it's not Coach Kerr getting that contract. Because if
I
Coach Kerr
just hate the
got the
fact that Kerr is the highest paid NBA coach at this point.
well, but it's 2 years though, as opposed to 8, is what I'm saying.
It don't matter. It's still 17 million that have to see his ass for 2 more years.
Oh,
Him
so
and his dumb
okay,
lineups.
better 2 than 8. I thought you'd be happy with 2 instead of 8, but
No,
obviously.
I was happy with no 2 years.
What else we
This
got
is his
going on,
last
guys?
year.
Wait, Chris. When was the last? Was it 2012? The last championship?
For the Heat,
Yeah.
2013.
Oh well, 2012. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
they
been it's been 10 years. So I don't know. We'll see.
because they went
Damn,
four
that's
years in
been.
a row. They went 11 through 14. They beat the Thunder in 12. They beat the Spurs in 13, and then they haven't won since. They've been to 3 other finals since, but they haven't won.
Mm.
Uh,
So 4 years from now, he's halfway through his new contract. No championships. Do you keep him or fire him?
if Miami is still contending, and there's not a legit reason why, well, let's say that they still contend. They're winning 50 games a year, but they haven't won a championship yet. Have they been to a finals yet? Have they been to a finals in that span?
Yeah, because then you get into Shanahan territory. Like, well, I mean, I know he's won it with he's already won two with LeBron, but like at a certain point, it's like if you're not going to win chips, what's the point?
Well,
Um,
let's put it this way: will you fire Greg Popovich?
I think he should have
This
been
is
fired. Yeah,
Yeah, but he's the second highest paid coach.
yeah.
I
I
don't
don't think
find.
Pop. I
He
honestly don't
hasn't
think
won since the
Popovich.
Tim Duncan years.
Yeah, no, I think he's writing that too. I mean, that's why Bill Belichick got fired, right? He rode with Tom Brady, and I mean, I think they both had a big part in it, but like, it was obvious he wasn't going to win again, so he got fired. So it'll be interesting, right? I think Popovich should have been fired a long time ago. Like,
Well,
he's not
honestly,
winning
I
another title.
thought most people thought he would step down on his own, especially after his wife passed away, after the
Yeah.
big three all left, and then after the Olympic when he was the coach of the Olympic team. Everyone thought he was going to bow out at that time, and he's still around. This is what he wants to do. But to answer your question, Sir Slorebag, I don't fire Spoelstra, but it's only for one reason. I don't want to eat $60 million. That's the only reason
That
I
is a
don't.
lot of money. Damn.
Yeah. If I'm Pat Riley and
Yeah.
everyone else in charge, because yeah, that's I can't I have a hard time paying guys who aren't working for me. It's unless they're awful. Spo's proven to be he's certainly competent if nothing else. But moving on, what else do we have here? I want to talk about the Kevin Durant situation. Are you guys familiar with what happened with Kevin Durant last week when he was entering the court from the locker room before a game against
Mhm.
Dallas at Dallas, and a couple of fans started on him, and one of them right by his head called him the B word, called him
Mhm.
bitch,
Mhm.
and he turned around. You guys familiar with this? He turned around and he confronted them, and they quickly were backtracking. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, buddy. And Durant, to his credit, did not have them ejected from the arena, even when security was ready to do so. And what I want to ask you guys. I'll start with you, OG. What's the threshold for taking abuse from fans? And should the decision be out of Durant's hands by that point, and they just get tossed if they disrespect a player like that?
Um, unless they're getting the court and they're actually being violent, I think the threshold has to be high, right? Um, and this is not just Durant, like LeBron did it, right?
And others.
You can't get your feelings hurt so much that you're gonna toss an audience who's watching the game.
But OG,
Because
this isn't a
as
case of telling him he sucks. This is calling him out of his name. This is a profanity.
Yeah, but have you been to football games? What
One.
do you think happened when you go to Philly? What do you think happens when you go to Boston? This is why people watch. Like a lot of people watch because they're so highly competitive about their team that they go to great lengths in terms of profanity, the name calling, um, and trying to find ways to get in their head, right? Like I said, as long as you're not physically hurting someone, then what people say shouldn't hurt you, right? Unless they're threatening you, like I'm gonna kill you or something, I'm gonna kill your kids, your wife, your family, then that shouldn't matter.
Or if they say they
Like
have BO.
that too. But then if they say they have BO, you don't turn around and go to them, right? Which is what Kevin Durant did and have a conversation.
Yeah.
But I truly feel that you have to allow that. That's why, like, if you can't take that, then what's the difference between a player saying the same thing? Because Draymond does it. He does it a lot.
Fair enough. OG, your thoughts on this?
Remember,
Or, Sir Slorebag, your thoughts on
right.
the Kevin Durant bitch thing?
Yeah, I mean the game hadn't even started. Like he was just like, "What do you do? Like, why do you even pay attention? Like, just walk past them. You got so much money. Like, why do you even care?" Like, I turn around and say like, "What's up? I got 200 million bitches." I'd be like, "I got 200 million. You're the bitch." All right.
All
Like,
right.
so who cares? What if I had that much money, you can call me whatever you want, and I'm not gonna care, and I'm just gonna laugh at you.
It's just, I mean, I see where you're both coming from. It's just hard for me as an outsider because I probably agree with you on the surface. As a grown man, it's hard to be called out of your name. And I remember in high school, I made that mistake to a gentleman who there wasn't many people who could kick my ass in high school, but he was probably one of them. And I accidentally let that word slip out, and the results could have been very bad for me. But because he took serious offense with being called that name, even if it was by accident. There's just a lot of pride involved when you have grown men who, and you talk about the money Kevin Durant makes. There isn't there a level of respect that comes with that, and he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's like number 12 on the all-time scoring list, somewhere like that.
No, no. What are you talking about? It's the opposing fans. It's sports. That's what comes with the
That,
territory.
that's what
That's
they
why you get
do.
paid the big bucks. You got to be able
Right.
to.
You get paid to play and take that. You gotta be not just play physically, mentally, you're supposed to be able to take that. That's why
Yeah,
people play mind games in sports. And they do that because they want you to not be level headed and not cool about it. But they don't expect you to retaliate in regards to it.
like,
Like,
and that's why Kevin Durant, like he's great, but that's why he can't win without the Warriors. He'll never win it.
mhm.
He cares, like he lets that stuff get to him, right? And as an if I was an athlete getting if I was that good and had all that money, just worry about the court and that's it. And like you can call me whatever you want, but I'm winning the chips and the rings and I have the money and that's all that matters. So
Yep.
So if I understand you both correctly, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just want to make sure I understand your threshold with verbal abuse from fans who've paid their ticket for an NBA player. Stop. You take it until it gets to the point of threats of violence or threats of harm. And
Hmm.
if it's below
or
that,
or like they say something about your family, right? Then that's
Right,
different.
right. Then
But
that's
if they're
personal.
going at you, if they're coming at
Yep.
me and calling me like a bitch or a dumbass or whatever you want, come at me all you want because
Hmm.
like I said, I'm laughing all the way to the bank and to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
okay. So Kevin Durant is a horse licking uh turkey licker.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the best
whatever.
I could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
That's the
you can
best
call
I
him
could
whatever you
do.
want, man.
All right, all right. We have enough time for maybe
That's why
one.
that's why there's trash talking in sports. And that doesn't just apply to players. That applies to the people that watch.
Well, the trash talking usually applies to the player's ability to play the game.
Yeah, but no,
You
yeah, exactly. But that's what they're doing though. I mean, when you call someone like I said, Paul George, Draymond Green, calling them soft ass, blah blah blah, when they were walking away in the altercation.
Mhm.
See that game?
Yeah, I remember that the Quinones game
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the last one, yeah.
against the
yeah.
Hornets.
It's what's the difference? If you know you're gonna get into Kevin Durant's head if you tell him you're a little bitch, right? Then wouldn't you do it? As a player, it stops him from scoring 30 points and doing whatever he does. You will do whatever it takes to win.
One thing I
And
didn't check is if
that's
it actually helped that night. Did they win? I
yeah,
forgot.
but that's the trash talking though. That's part of the game. People trash talk all the time. They
Okay.
call him little. They call him weak. They call him soft.
Okay,
I'm
that you
sure
know,
Saying,
there's just the difference between that and basketball insults and personal insults. But you know, I just want to see what you guys thought about it. Kevin
yeah.
Durant's
you're
been
not
called that
Right.
mentally
name
It
strong
wasn't
already.
it
enough
wasn't
to.
racial. It wasn't racial either,
Yeah, it
right?
wasn't. No.
So like I get it, like family, race, stuff,
Yeah,
all
that's different.
there's
If
limits or
you start attacking people like your family and you're threatening them with their lives, that's a different thing.
right.
But if you're calling them names and you're trying to get into their head, then you're not going to be nice about it, right? So I think it's fair. I mean,
Okay.
hecklers are hecklers.
It comes with the
Trash talkers are
territory, man.
trash talkers. Yep.
I
Well,
mean, come on now.
fans have at it then.
Like
Fans, but you know what? If I played in the NBA and someone called me that name, I'd be like, "What you want, fool? You want some of this?" I'm from Vallejo.
Then
They don't want none of this. See these fists of fury?
then you're gonna be just like Ron Artest and Steven Jackson, right? Because that's
Well,
what happened.
I'm gonna give me
They
a
were on the side. They were
73
on
game
the side.
suspension.
Yep. Yep.
All
And
right,
that's what they did. So
moving on. We have one more topic I want to get into before we end the show, and that topic is the scrum. I guess you call it the scrum between the Pistons Isaiah
right.
Beef Stew Stewart and the Phoenix Suns center Drew Eubanks. And I'm pretty sure you know this
Did I
story,
freeze?
guys. When the two of them arrived at the arena, I forget which arena it was, but it's most likely Detroit's arena. They arrived at the arena, and I don't know what they were arguing about, if it was carryover, if it was personal, if it was late to the game, but somehow Eubanks and Stewart get into an argument. These are two very big men, and their tempers get hot, and Stewart eventually throws punches. Next thing you know, here comes the police. And this is something you don't see getting involved in NBA skirmishes or any kind of pro sports skirmishes. The law is always left out of it, as I personally believe it should be. But this time, the police took away Isaiah Stewart in handcuffs, took him to jail. Drew Eubanks had to miss that game. I think he's back in action now. And what I want your guys' thoughts on in brawls on NBA arena property between players. Is that something that they need to police within the teams, or was it the police's business to deal with this brawl because these are still two citizens fighting over probably something stupid and which is illegal? Should the police have been involved in this? OG, you go first.
it's such a fine line because technically a lot of fights happen in games, right? But the thing here is in games.
In game.
So a lot of times when that happens, the police doesn't get involved because of the fact that usually the officials, the officiating, and um, it's part of the officiating piece in terms of kicking people out and finding them.
Right.
But for me, if it happens outside the game, it happens in the locker room, it happens in the bag, it happens outside of the actual playing field, then there's a good opportunity that it's considered different, and that's when the cops get involved. But it's such a hard line to say because it unless somebody calls for me, okay, I don't think they should be involved. Truly not. Otherwise, if you think about hockey and people fighting like literally on the screen, then all those people should be in jail, right? But
Yeah,
they have a box
I
for
only know
that,
of one case where the cops got involved in hockey, and then they fight like
right?
every game.
But it truly feels like NBA, just like any sports, have their own rules and regulations that really punishes these individuals that fight. They get fined, they lose games, they lose money, and I think at that point, I think it's enough that you keep the cops out. Just for me, because this is a business, right?
Mhm.
Usually businesses, if things don't work out
Oh,
because you're violent, you're kicked out and you lose out. So
And Sir Slorebag, to piggyback on what OG said, it is a business, and it's also to some, or really to most, a fraternity as well. Basically, it's like the Vegas saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We police our own clubhouses, what they say in baseball all the time. And here's the factor that OG raised the issue. This wasn't in game. This wasn't an in game instance. This was a in parking lot of arena instance, which is still, to me, NBA territory, should fall under the NBA umbrella of, hey, we'll handle this ourselves. And do you agree with that? Well, what are your thoughts on the matter, Sir Slorebag?
Well, unfortunately, I missed most of it because my internet's being weird. But all I'll say is that I know the reason why the cops might be involved in all that, and why it's all about money, right? The NBA doesn't want people fighting. It gives a bad image to the whole league, right? Like, right? Think about the 70s and 80s, right? There used to be fights and all that stuff, and they cleaned it up, right? That's something that, what was it, Stern, or I don't remember, but
It was mostly
they,
stuff. There was also cocaine too.
yeah, there was all kinds of stuff going on, right? There was fights, there's turbo everywhere, there's strippers.
Stuff to enjoy it, yes.
But that's why, that's why the NBA, whether it happens in the game or outside, like, they want to clean up the image, because whether we like it, I know a lot of America doesn't like it, right? And you lose viewers. Like, they don't want the thug league, right? They want the NBA. So
fair enough. Well, any
solution to that, right?
Because it's all about money, right? Because advertisers, they're not going to pay if you're supporting this UFC basketball league where people fight in the middle of game,
or in this case, before game.
You know how to stop the fights, right?
How?
When there's violence, just get Taylor Swift, because then the camera just points at her, and her millions of fans.
Didn't think you were going to go that direction.
Oh, that reminds me. I got a hot take. CMC is going to the Chiefs. He was spotted at Nobu at the same time as Travis Kelce. We're going to lose CMC.
Oh, please be wrong. Please be wrong. CMC is the best thing to happen to this team probably since Nick Bosa.
But Shanahan forgets about him for what is it? 3 drives in a row or something like that.
Yes, he did. And we'll be paying for that for at least one more year. But please, CMC, stay out of Kansas City. You see how horrible the Chiefs environment is. You see our report card where everything except for the head coach got like an F in the organization. Look it up on ESPN. It's there. I didn't get the details on that because we're not supposed to talk about it. But please do not let CMC go anywhere for any reason.
I know, but
well,
they were in the same restaurant at the same time. That's all I know.
Maybe he was just there for the food. Let's only hope. But gentlemen, unfortunately, the time has come. We're gonna get into the Garoppolo suspension next time. We're gonna get into the MLB stories I have for next time. Jerry Jones paternity issues and whatnot. We're out of time today. I want to thank you both for participating. This has been, and there's not going to be, by the way, it's not going to be a Skills on Pills segment tonight. We'll set it for next week too, because I'm actually pretty happy. This has been a Season Over Fire Everyone Sports Show. I'm your boy Skills, flanked by Sir Slorebag down below and OG to my left.
Hey, don't forget about me, dumbass.
And the Brazilian parrot, the profane Brazilian parrot who's
fire Shanahan.
Okay. I love this extra guest host. We will be back soon. We will see you next time. Until then, watch sports, love sports, watch our show. Peace out.